When it comes to leading a life of radical authenticity, fulfillment, success, and most importantly, peace, protecting your energy is absolutely critical. And that's why I'm making this video to share with you 5 key strategies to protect your peace and stop being depleted and drained by everybody around you. Now, as a recovering people pleaser myself, I will be the first one to tell you and emphasize the importance of protecting your energy and the detrimental things that are a result of not protecting your energy. I mean, I recently, to put a long story short, just went through this huge transformation in my life where I am all of literally stepping into a new chapter of my life, one defined and characterized by radical protection of my energy, which is something I was incredibly deficient in the recent past. But before I get into exactly how to protect your energy, first I want to talk about what protecting your energy even means. So to put it simply, I mean, the term protecting your energy is it explains it itself. It's self-explanatory. But what it means to protect your energy is to put an end to people and situations draining your energy, where you are establishing a solid sense of safety and assurance within yourself, where your well-being, your peace, your happiness, your motivation and inspiration is not contingent upon things on the outside, where what it means to protect your peace is it's another way of saying it's another form of self-preservation, where you're looking out for yourself in a way that maybe you weren't in the past. Protecting your energy means protecting you, being there for you, standing up for you, and not allowing other people and external situations to fiddle around with your energy. Now, you could have probably put that together yourself, that protecting your energy means looking out for yourself, but believe it or not, a lot of people, myself included in the recent past, don't do this as much as we should. We don't protect our energy. We abandon ourselves. We allow people to walk all over us. We abandon ourselves to external situations and to people and to circumstances, all out of what we could think is a form of love. But what we're doing is we're just depleting our energy. We're depleting our energy, and we think there's this sort of emotional payoff for doing so, but all it results in is you not being respected, and therefore, as a result of that, you getting used even more and manipulated and led on and taken advantage of and all this stuff. So, like I said, long story short, I want to cut to the chase and share with you the 5 key strategies in how to protect your energy. Now, the first strategy, I wouldn't even really call this a strategy. This is more so it's like a meta thing. It's like meta to all these other things that I'm about to mention. It's literally like the cardinal most important factor. And what that is, being number 1, is to know your worth. Because let me ask you this. Why would you protect something that you don't think is valuable? If you don't think you are valuable, if you don't think you are worthy, why would you bother to protect it? Why would you even bother in protecting it? If you don't think you're worthy and valuable, if you don't know your worth, you're going to be doing what's called social pinging, where you're constantly, you probably do this, I do it, not as much as I used to, but I definitely still do it. It's called social pinging, where you ping off of other people, and you're looking for other people to tell you you're good enough, to tell you you're pretty, you're beautiful, you're good looking, you're smart, you're funny, to tell you your ideas are good, to tell you you can do it, you got what it takes. When we don't have an established, solid foundation of our own self-worth and self-love, we are going to become dependent on the outside for that worth to be given to us. We're going to be dependent on external validation. So what it means to know your worth, being the number one hallmark of protecting your energy, what it means to know your worth is that I don't have to tell you your worth because you know it. You know you're beautiful. You know you're good enough. You know you're valuable. You know what you deserve. You know what you're worth having. Where, let's just say somebody comes up to you and says, your blue hair is so stupid. I love this example, by the way. They come up to you and say, your blue hair is so stupid, and you don't have blue hair. So you're like, I don't have blue hair, so that comment is irrelevant. It doesn't even affect me. I don't even register it as something that could possibly be true. Why would I be bothered by something that's not true? That's exactly what knowing your worth is about, is when somebody comes up to you and says, you're not good enough, your ideas are stupid, you're ugly, you're dumb, you're annoying me, you're not doing the right thing, but you feel confident in your heart that what you're doing is right, and you know you're good enough, and you have confidence and security in your ideas and in your passions and dreams and motivations and aspirations. When you have cultivated that confidence in yourself, the opinions of others are irrelevant. They don't affect you. It's like somebody coming up to you and saying, your blue hair is so stupid. You don't have blue hair, so why would you bother with their opinion? Now, the topic of knowing your worth is honestly its own entire thing to talk about. But if you're somebody that struggles with self-esteem and struggles with self-love and is somebody who their biggest hits of self-worth come about from external sources where you get a compliment or somebody validates you or somebody says, yeah, you should do it, or you're good enough, or you're good looking, or you're funny. If you have problems with self-worth and you're constantly seeking external validation, I want you to ask yourself the question, why is somebody else's opinion of you more important than your opinion of you? Knowing your worth means, me knowing my worth means just because you don't like me doesn't mean I have to not like me too. Knowing your worth means you are solid and independent in your own frame of reality. And also I want to emphasize, this doesn't mean being closed-minded. This means not allowing your reality and your sense of self-worth and aspirations and motivations is not able to be mangled and pieced apart by the opinions of others. Because people are inevitably going to hate on you. People are inevitably, especially when you stand firm in who you are. When you stand up in authenticity and in confidence. That is most definitely when the snakes are going to come out and point at you. Because when somebody on a lower level, when somebody who maybe doesn't have an established foundation of self-worth sees somebody that does, it's either inspiring or threatening. And the ones to whom your knowing of your worth and your security and independence in yourself, to those who it threatens, those are the people that are going to hate on you. Now, if somebody hates on you and you fold, oh yeah, you're right. If you have a passion and a dream and somebody craps on it and you say, yeah, right, it is a stupid idea, you don't have a solid sense of self-worth. You don't believe in yourself deeply enough. You're abandoning yourself and hitching a ride with the opinions of somebody who isn't even you. You're depending on the opinion of somebody who knows so little about you. So knowing your worth, like I said a moment ago, is the cardinal number one, I'm not even going to call it a strategy. It's like the backbone of protecting your energy. Because, as I said a moment ago, if you don't think you're worthy, if you don't think you're valuable, why would you protect it? Because the only things we feel inclined to protect are things that are valuable. So, moving on to number 2. Don't be afraid to say no. How many of you have ever been in a situation where it's a Friday night and you feel like just kicking back and watching Netflix alone or with your partner or whatever it is, and then your friends hit you up and say, yo, do you want to come out and hang out? And you don't want to, but you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that girl. You don't want you don't want to be a buzzkill. You don't want to be a party killer. You know what I mean? You want to show up. Yeah, I don't want to, but I don't want to upset them. I don't want them to think I don't like them. So yeah, I guess I'll go. So you get suited up, you doll yourself up, you get all dressed up, and you drive and you go and hang out, and you didn't even want to do it. And yeah, maybe you felt, you had a good time or whatever it was, or maybe you didn't. But the point is, you didn't want to do it, but you said no because you didn't want to bother your friends. Or let's think of the example of, we've probably all been here with this one. Your boss asks you on your day off, hey, do you mind working Saturday? You know, you have Saturday off, and they're like, hey, do you mind working Saturday? And you don't want to work Saturday. You had plans to go to the beach. But your boss asks you, do you mind working Saturday? And because they're your boss, this pedestalized being, you say, yeah, I don't mind. I'll show up. I'll do it. Yeah, let's do it. I'm down with that. And you're lying to yourself and them. You don't want to work on Saturday, but you don't want to bother them. So what you do is you say, yeah, I don't mind. I'll do it. Or, I actually just recently had an experience where my dad's girlfriend started messaging me, and we don't talk very often, and, she was talking to me. She's like, hey, how are you, Devon? How have you been? And all this stuff, and I'm talking to her. And she says, if you want, maybe we could go on a walk or go get lunch together sometime to hang out. And I don't really want to. When she said that, I immediately was like, that doesn't resonate with me. I don't feel called to do that. And immediately I felt the pressure of, I don't want to, but I feel compelled to say, yeah, let's do that. That sounds like a great time, because I don't want to bother her. Now, what I want you to pay attention to here is that there's going to be a trend through all of these remaining 3 strategies that I'm about to share with you. There's going to be a trend that you notice throughout all of them, being protecting your energy often will come at the cost of bothering other people. Where in order to protect my energy, I didn't want to go out to lunch with her. I mean, all the love to her, but I don't feel called to do that right now. And I didn't want to do it. So instead of being like, yeah, I'd love to, and lying to her and myself, and abandoning myself and disregarding how I feel, and not giving any respect to how I feel, what I said was, thank you for the offer, I'll let you know if I'm interested. That tells her blatantly, I don't want to, but I'll let you know if that changes. Now, some of you might be like, oh my God, that's rude, but see, that's just the thing. The reason we abandon ourselves and keep getting hurt and walked on and taken advantage of is because we keep saying yes to things we don't want to do. You think of your friend gets in your car and they keep slamming your door. I use this example all the time. They keep slamming your door every single time they get in. And you don't want to tell them, hey man, can you stop slamming my door every time you get in? Because you don't want to bother them. So what you do is you sacrifice your car because you don't want to be rude. I'll go and hang out with my dad's girlfriend because I don't want to be rude. You'll work on a day that you literally don't have to, but feel like you should because you don't want to be rude. You're going to go and hang out with your friends even though you don't want to because you don't want to be rude. This is people pleasing. You're trying to keep the peace. And by trying to keep the peace with others, you're abandoning your own peace. You're disregarding your energy. You're not protecting your energy. Now, I'm not saying to, when your friends ask to hang out or if your boss asks you to work on a day off or whatever, you radically say no because I'm protecting my energy now. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is to at least begin to consider and play with the idea that how you feel is worth being expressed. Meaning, if you don't want to, try sharing that for once. Try expressing that for once. If somebody you're working with or a friend or your partner or whoever keeps doing something that you don't like, don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't like that. Now, what this leads me into is how don't be afraid to say no isn't just these examples I've given of not wanting to hang out or not wanting to go out to lunch with somebody or not wanting to work on your day off. Not being afraid to say no also means completely letting go of toxic situations that no longer serve you. That's a one-liner that gets used a lot. Not being afraid to say goodbye. put simply. Not being afraid to say no means not being afraid to stand up how you feel. So many of us will bottle up our we don't want to go out, or we don't want to go out to lunch, or we don't want to work on this day, or we don't want to do whatever with this person or whatever, but we don't honor that because we would rather make them happy for some reason. Because in the people-pleasing energy dynamic, we get an emotional payoff when we make others happy. So what we do is we like religiously abandon ourselves and make everybody else happy and derive a sort of, I guess you could call it like a dirty high. We get a dirty, cheap high off of making others happy, even though the way that we just made them happy was by abandoning how we actually felt. So protecting your energy, like I said, will often come at the cost of upsetting other people. So that's number 2 there, is don't be afraid to say no. Don't say no every time. Be willing to go hang out with your friends. Be willing to be flexible with your work schedule. Maybe it would be fun to go out with this person to lunch or whatever, but don't constantly do everything everybody wants you to do. Don't be at the beck and call of everybody around you just because you want to keep the peace with everybody. It's not going to do you any good. And by offering opposition, you create polarization, and polarization is what breeds respect in people who like you and appreciate you and love you. By standing up for yourself and saying no, they learn more about you. They learn about you in a way that they aren't able to when you're constantly doing every single thing that they want you to do. So, number 2, don't be afraid to say no. Number 3, stop being available to everybody all the time. Now, this kind of ties in, it's kind of in tandem with number 2, don't be afraid to say no. But not being available all the time is a little bit different in that where I'm coming from in saying that is, let's say you text your friend. Or your friend texts you, and you have your phone on you, and you get the notification, so why not respond, right? That's the way I work. So I respond to them, and then they don't answer for hours. They don't answer all day. They don't answer for maybe 2 days. And then after 2 days, they respond to me, and I have a free moment, so I respond to it like 10, 20, 30 minutes later. And then, once again, don't hear from them for 2 days. Not being available to everybody all the time, in a way, I'm kind of saying, match the energy a little bit. If you talk to somebody, you reach out to somebody, hey, how you doing, man? And they don't get back to you for 3 days, they're not prioritizing talking with you. So why would you prioritize talking with them? Why are you going to overextend yourself to somebody who's not reciprocating that same energy? So not being available to everybody all the time not only means maybe saying no when you don't want to go out, but kind of matching the energy a little bit. I've done this with a couple people in my life recently, and it's a liberating feeling. It's liberating because I'm not sitting here waiting for them to match the energy that I consistently show up with for them. I'm not waiting for them to show up because now I'm matching them. And funny enough, when you match the energy, that's when you find out how much they're actually on your mind. Because when you match that energy, they're going to be the one to pop up. They're going to be the one to say, "Hey, what's up, man? How you been?" You know, and one of my biggest pet peeves is somebody that, like, when they text you, they say, "Hey, how are you?" or "How was your day?" And you tell them, and then they don't answer for 2 days. It's like, you weren't curious about how my day was if you didn't answer for 2 days. You just said it like a robot. You just Autobot mode. You just said it. So not being available to everybody all the time means also taking time to prioritize and invest in you. Optimizing time for you. Self-love. Doing self-love practices where you're going to stay in tonight. You're going to read. You're going to write. You're going to do yoga. You're going to watch a movie. You're going to just do you. Just do you. Not being available all the time means I'd like to, but I'm focusing on me right now. I got my own thing going on. I'm doing my own thing. So that speaks to a whole other level where you have a life that's oriented around self-love activities. Like for me, I love my alone time. I honor my alone time. Reading, writing, my nature walks are huge. Working on YouTube, being alone, meditating, being with me, being with me. And oftentimes, I mean, I guess you could say this is like the difference between introvert and extrovert, but more so what it is having an even balance in life between your social life and your independent life. You know what I mean? And being asked to, yo, do you want to hang out? You want to go do this? It's almost like I have to like bargain. Am I in a space where I want to? You know what I mean? And where that's born from is radical prioritization of your well-being, not just being at the beck and call of everybody, kind of like number 2, where you're not afraid to, or you're afraid to say no, so you're just always hanging out with everybody the second anybody says anything to you. You know what I mean? So for number 3, don't be available all the time. Have your own time. Prioritize you. Spend time with you. Go out on car rides alone. Go to the beach alone. Go do your own thing alone. Read, write, watch TV alone. Spend time with you. That's how you learn about you. That's how you learn about what you like and what you deserve and what you're not going to tolerate and what you enjoy doing and the kind of people you want to have in your life. And that's huge. The same thing with like knowing your worth. Prioritizing self-love is a whole other can of beans that we could open up talking about, but I feel like you guys get the idea in that prioritizing you means, hey, sorry, I'd like to hang out, but I'm doing me tonight. I'm staying home tonight. I don't want to go out. So not being afraid to say no and not being available all the time go together. They're kind of one and the same thing, but I thought it was important to kind of differentiate the two. Number 4, agree to disagree. Stop trying to convince everybody of everything. I was really bad with this, and it's still something I'm working on, where I'm starting to realize that when somebody doesn't, like in the past, when somebody would disagree with me, even if it was just a civil disagreement, I felt this huge inclination to like go in and like do a psychological surgery on them to try to make them think the same way I think. Because them disagreeing with me might mean that I'm wrong. I might be wrong. So I always felt like somebody disagreeing with me, whether it was in comments on social media or in person, I would be like threatened by them disagreeing with me. So I would like battle and argue and try to convince and try to convert them into how I think, because them thinking differently than me meant I might be wrong. So what I need to do is use my wit and my wisdom and my knowledge and my articulation skills to try to convince them of what I think. But I've been starting to realize that, like, it was Mark Twain who said, don't argue with stupid people because they'll bring you down to their level and then beat you with experience. Now, I'm not saying everybody who thinks differently than you is stupid. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is when somebody does something that's just outright wrong, that you don't agree with, unless it's not immediately impacting your life, there's no reason to like tell them, hey, what you're doing is wrong and you need to stop and this is what you should be doing, and if you were wiser you would do X, Y, and Z. There's no need to do that. Let them be them. If they're toxic, let them be toxic over there. Don't associate yourself with them and engage in a toxic therapy session where you're trying to get them to see how toxic they are. It never works. It never works. You're not going to make the toxic person see how toxic they're being. So it's in your best interest to just leave them alone. If it's not directly affecting you, if it's not impeding on any of your personal boundaries, leave it alone. Stop arguing. You know, as far as like being a keyboard warrior on social media, that was something that I stopped doing years ago. I see all sorts of posts that I just absolutely disagree with. It's not true at all. But do I feel inclined and like it's necessary to go in and say, I don't agree with this, this is how it should be? Sometimes. I'm just kidding. Very, 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 very rarely do I go in on the comments and say this is wrong and I don't agree with this and you're all dumb and all this stuff. And you know, you go into the comments and it's just, it's like a war. It's just people arguing left and right, arguing so hard, and it's not worth your time. And another thing I've noticed is like on my live streams on YouTube, I'll get people who absolutely disagree with me completely to the bone. And I'll feel, because it's like in the moment, I'll feel this inclination to like, oh, I gotta like convert them to what I have to prove my side. I have to prove my point. But all that, you don't have to. They are allowed to think differently than you. You're allowed to think differently than them, period. Leave it alone. If you can't be friends because you think differently, okay, whatever. But there's no need to try to convince somebody of what you think. And if you go into that realm, you're going to abandon yourself again. You're going to get walked on and told you're stupid and you're wrong and you're dumb. And it's all this unnecessary stuff that you could have avoided if you were just secure and confident in how you felt to such a degree that you didn't feel inclined to try to convince others of what you think. You don't have to convince others when you're confident in who you are. When you're protecting your energy, you don't want to try to convince people. You just want to be you. You just want to be you. You're not going out here to try to seek external validation. So that's number 4, is stop arguing with people. Let them be them. If they think differently, let them. That's the mantra of the day. Let them. Let them think differently. Let them be toxic. Let them be arrogant, ignorant, narcissistic, negative, whatever it is. Let them. Let them be wrong. You don't have to convince them. They're on their own journey. And as long as it's not impeding on you directly, it's not necessary to try to convince them and convert them to the way you think about things. So for number 5, get ready to say bye to people. Get ready to say goodbye to people. If you want any chance of protecting your energy, you're gonna need to say goodbye to probably a lot of people. It's something that's blowing my mind personally in this journey of radical protection of my well-being. Is I'm realizing, holy shit, I am like in the ocean surrounded by sharks right now. I'm realizing when you begin the journey of self-love and self-worth and setting boundaries and upholding to your independence and your self-love and your belief in yourself, it all of a sudden, all the toxic stuff pops up all around you. It's like black on white, and it's all around you, and it's scary, and it's like easy does it through here, you know what I mean? And you're gonna need to say goodbye to a lot of people. Relationships, friends, maybe even entire employers, your job. When you begin the journey of protecting your energy, you need to know what you're protecting yourself from. And it will blow your mind when it's put into perspective how much dangerous, toxic energy is around you that's been sapping and stealing your energy for all this time. And now it's become apparent to you because you're growing, you're leveling up, you're becoming a new person, a wiser person who's caring about themselves, who's considering their well-being, and now all this stuff's gonna appear around you. I've had to say bye to at least like 3 people within the past like 5 months, and it's crazy. These were really close people in my life. And believe it or not, this 5th point here, saying goodbye to people, that alone is what catalyzed this awakening I had. I literally said goodbye to one person, and it completely changed my life. Through and through. Everything. So much has changed. I'm unrecognizable to who I was 5 months ago. And it's all because I honored me and for once chose me. Saying goodbye to people doesn't mean see ya. It means I'm choosing me. I'm sorry, but I'm choosing me. So as you can see, there's a trend. Like I said, there's a trend through here where you abandoning your energy, or let's put it like this. Like I said a moment ago, protecting your energy comes at the cost of bothering people. It comes at the cost of not associating with certain people anymore. So you need to be willing to say goodbye to those who aren't serving you, to those who don't respect you, to those who are crossing your boundaries, to those who are using you, taking you for granted, misleading you, just using you. Like, it will become so apparent who's toxic and who's not when you begin honoring yourself and prioritizing your well-being and protecting your energy. So if you're serious about protecting your energy and living a life of peace and authenticity, you need to be willing to say goodbye to those who impede on it, to the energy vampires, to those who are getting in the way, stealing your energy, using you for their good. Get ready to say goodbye to people. Like I said, I've done this to at least 3 people, and it's not easy. And what often comes with the feeling of protecting your peace is feeling like you're being rude. But you begin to learn you're not being rude, you're honoring yourself. You're including yourself in the field of compassion, and that looks rude because you're so used to abandoning yourself. So my camera's about to die here. This was the 5 key strategies to protecting your energy, and I guarantee you if you implement these 5 strategies into your life, everything will change. Everything will transform, and you will be leading a life of so much increased energy that it will blow your mind. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, consider liking and subscribing because it really makes these videos go a long way, and I appreciate it more than words could ever convey. So with that said, I'll see you all in the next one.